What is up, Aces? Welcome to the beginner series in the Ace Crypto Trading Discord. This collection of videos will act as your ultimate guide to acing the crypto markets like a pro. In this series, I'll be breaking down the exact strategies, indicators, and tools I personally use to trade crypto. I will be walking you through my most essential indicators, showing you how to use TradingView effectively, and sharing the mindset and risk management strategies that separate the aces from the rest. These videos will contain no fluff, no hype, just real actionable insights you can start using right away. Now, strap yourself in. We're going to get started with horizontal support and resistances. All right, let's jump right into it. So the first thing you want to do is pull up TradingView. You can get this by going to tradingview.com, and then you want to launch your chart. So you click this little square button right here that says launch full chart view. When you click that, it will pull you up a chart. By default, it takes you to the S&P 500 chart, all right? Then you want to change the ticker and choose which particular chart you would like to use. So when you click the ticker over here, in this case, I'm going to be searching for Bitcoin USDT. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to choose a chart that I haven't marked anything on before. So I'm going to use the FEMEX exchange. Okay. So this is the Bitcoin USDT spot pair on the FEMEX exchange. This is the chart for that particular asset. Then you have your different time frames up here. You can format this and customize it in your own way so you can decide which time frames you like to use and which ones you use most often. So from top to bottom, I like to use weekly, 2-day, daily, 12-hour, 8-hour, 4-hour, 3, 2, and 1 hour, and then the 90-minute, 30-minute, 15, 7, 5, and 1-minute time frames. Okay. Again, depending on your trading strategy and your own style, you can format these into whatever you like. This is just what I prefer, okay? Now, before we talk about horizontal support and resistance levels, we have to understand the anatomy of a candlestick, okay? For the anatomy of a candle, right, there are different things you need to understand here, right? So let's focus on this candle right here, okay? So there are different, I like to call them like different parts of the candle. So when a candle opens, you will have a bullish or a bearish candle. When you open up a chart by default on TradingView, green candles will be bullish, red candles will be bearish. I formatted mine so that this green color is bullish and the gold ones are bearish. That's just how I like to do it, okay? So on a bullish candle, when the candle first opens, the body of the candle, which is like, the wider part of the candle, will begin right here. And then the close of the candle, which occurs when depending on which time frame you're looking at, when that time frame ends, so in this case, it's the weekly, and you can see right here, we have about 3 days and 7 hours left on this weekly candle. So every week when the candle closes, you will have a close of the body, all right? And then you have these wicks, okay? So these wicks, you have the top and the bottom wicks. So the bottom wick is the price action that occurs after the candle body opens, okay? And then when the candle closes, you will see this as the bottom wick that will form. And then the top wick is the price action that occurs above where the candle body closes. This is on a bullish candle. Makes sense? On a bearish candle, now let's move over here. On a bearish candle, the body starts right here. This is where the candle opens. Now remember, this is a bearish candle, so the close is going to be below the open of the candle. So the body of the candle on a bearish candlestick will look, something like this, right? And then the wicks that occurs. So the top wick of a bearish candle is the price action that occurs to the upside after the bearish candle opens. And then the wick that occurs to the downside is the price action that occurred before the bearish candle closed. Okay, so you got price action fall below, and then the candle wants to close up here, so that will form the bottom wick of a bearish candle. Okay, so now you understand the bullish and the bearish candlesticks, okay? The only terms that you need to understand are body, open, close, the high of the wick, and the low wick. Okay, so when you're looking at an individual candle, you can also see the information of that candle right here at the top of the chart. O stands for open, H means high, L means low, C means close, and then you have the price performance, or the variation of change that occurred during that particular candlestick. Okay, so you can find that information right here. Now we can get into finding your support and resistance levels. Okay, before I get started with that, I want to say that horizontal support and resistance is one of the most important things that I am looking at when I am performing technical analysis on my chart. This is one of my top priorities in terms of identifying, where I would expect price to bounce or get rejected. Okay, horizontal support and resistance is key. This is why I call them key levels. All right, so when you are drawing your horizontal support and resistance lines, you can draw your support based on the candle body closes or opens, or the highs and lows of the wicks. That's where I personally like to do it. Okay, so in this particular case, when I'm looking at a chart from scratch, okay, when I'm looking at a chart from scratch, I like to start with the top wick of the area that I'm looking at. Okay, so my first area of horizontal resistance would be the top of this wick right here, and you can find the information based on the information up here. The high of that wick was $109,484.75. That is currently the all-time high for Bitcoin. Now, personally, when I am drawing my support and resistance lines, okay, you can do that by hitting this plus button right here, okay? That will give you the option to draw a horizontal support or a horizontal line, okay? And then you can hit that and it would look something like that, okay? You can also do it like this. You can hit this on the left-hand side of the screen here. You can hit this trend line button, okay? And then you can scroll down and you'll see all these different lines and angles, and you can go down to horizontal line. I like to use horizontal line or horizontal ray. This is what I like to use when I'm doing my key levels, and you'll see real quick. And you'll also see the shortcuts, okay? So I'm using a Mac. So for a horizontal line, the shortcut would be the option button plus H. Array would be the option button plus J, okay? So in this particular case, when I'm drawing my resistance line right here, I'm going to do array, okay? So I'm going to do option J, and that will give me array. I like to do my rays, and you can format your lines here. You can change it from a solid line to a dashed line to a dotted line. You can change the color over here. I like to do a dotted line, okay? And the reason why is because when I'm looking at my charts quickly, I will know right away that the dotted lines are from the wicks, and my solid lines like this would be the bodies. Okay, so my solid lines are the bodies, and my dotted lines are the wicks. Okay, this is when I'm doing my own personal support and resistance lines. So in this particular case, the top wick is around 109,000. I'm doing this as a gold dotted line because for the gold colorway, I know that this is an area that I would like to sell. Okay, so first resistance line is right here. The second solid resistance line is right here because this is the top body of this candle, right? So the highest candle close for Bitcoin of all time was 104,903. So that's going to be a key level if and when we approach that, right? And then, in this case, I'm going to also draw a horizontal resistance line right here because the price of Bitcoin was trading in between this range for a while. And the bottom of this range occurred right here at around 93,668 based on these, candle opens and candle closes right over here, okay? So currently, the price of Bitcoin is at 84,600. And then we have this wick right here. This candle isn't closed. So, the week hasn't finished yet. So this candlestick is not closed yet. So this will change until the end of this week, okay? However, if price continues to the downside, I would expect bounces based on this area over here. I would expect bounces to occur over here. Now I'm going to mark these as green because this is where I would expect price to bounce. This is the top of the wick of this area over here, right? And then I would like to look for the body closes and opens. So that would occur right here. Change that color. So you can see, look at where these candles opened and closed, right? So this is going to be an area of support if and when the price of Bitcoin comes down there. So that's going to occur around $71,000, okay? And you could, sometimes I like to average it up. Sometimes like I like to look at, you know, these candles over here, these candles over here. Sometimes I'll play around with it. I'll drag it and I'll put it, you know, somewhere in the middle, somewhere where you see the body closes and opens that line up with the wicks. Sometimes I'll mark those areas as my solid support lines, right? But in this case, I'm just going to go with the top. All right, with the top of these of this range that formed over here based on the candlestick bodies, okay? And then you do the same thing for the bottom, okay? So this would be the bottom wick right here. You see that? And then for my candle closes, for the solid support line, I would do right here. Okay, makes sense? So, or even I would probably drag this. I'll probably do this over here based on these two candles right here. So that gives you your support and resistance lines for this particular area. Okay. So, again, when I'm looking at price action evolving, I am expecting the horizontal support and resistance levels as the strongest levels where I would expect bounces or rejections on price action. I want to make that clear once again. Okay. So this is how I personally like to do it. This is how I find my key levels. And, you know, you can, it's funny how it goes. Like you will see, you know, when you identify key levels in one area, a lot of times they will start to line up with other areas where price is traded before, right? So for example, in this case, like this solid line, which we found as support over here, comes very close to the previous all-time high of Bitcoin in the previous cycle. You see that? You see how high? You see how close the top of this wick? Let me zoom in for you. Let me go back here to 2021. So you see how close the high of this wick of Bitcoin's all-time high comes to the support that I drew, you know, over here. See that? So that happens very, very often. And when you're doing your horizontal support and resistance lines, you will start to notice this trend. And a lot of times when I'm going to, you know, previous price action, a lot of times I would like to draw the support and resistance levels that I could identify from those points. So in this particular case, I would do a support level right here because this was the previous all-time high from the previous cycle. And then, you know, you could start to find other, you know, support and resistance levels. So I would look somewhere like here. You know, this was the bottom of the crash in the middle of the bull run in 2021. So I would do a support level there, which lines up at around 31,000. This area over here has acted as resistance before. So I would do a resistance level around, you know, 50,000 or so. 50,000 is also a big psychological level. So I would do, you know, a support like around there, you know, based on these candles over here and this candle here and these candles here, right? So as you draw your support and resistance lines many times, and as you know, do your own trades and you see how price action reacts against those levels, you will have your own strategy and your own way of feeling out where the horizontal support and resistance lines will be. But yeah, so that is how I like to do it. So I hope you'll figure out your own way of drawing your horizontal support and resistance lines. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up in the chat. But that is it for the first video of this beginner series, how to draw horizontal support and resistance lines. Let's keep acing it.